Well, hey guys, welcome back into another edition of They Call Us the Breeze. That's Bravo, Romeo, Echo, Sierra, sitting up here live in Tiger Kennel A once again. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. For every one of you out there that's listening, there's still 1,000 that aren't. So please tell your friends. Make sure you guys are going out to Tiger Cage Media. That's our YouTube channel. And subscribing, liking, and of course, ringing that little bell for notifications. Ring, ding, 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 ding. That's right. And if you're not watching on YouTube, of course, you can catch the podcast everywhere you get your podcast drip every Monday. And yeah, we're just hanging out here. Thank you for waiting. For those of you that have been, patiently waiting on the live stream. We're in the middle of summer. What can I say? And I literally have had the cameras set up. I've had the microphone set up for the last 2 hours. Just been sitting here patiently awaiting the rain to stop, the thunder. I mean, the thunder was the lightning and the thunder. The thunder was so bad, it was literally shaking the house. And you can't do a podcast when all that's going on. So I just, I did what every good American would do. I sat here and I just continued to drink. So I'm about 2 beers deeper than I would like to be when I start the episode. But hey, kind of seems like that's a trend around here. We appreciate you guys for tuning out here. And of course, if you're not ringing that little bell, you're not going to catch all the awesome videos that Brewski, my new roommate, has been coming out with. And if you aren't fans yet, just go to his Instagram. He started his own goddamn Instagram page. Brewski Puppetowski. That's Brewski, Puppet, Owski. And you can check it. He's been very active. Like I said last week, I've created a monster. So, yeah, we've just been hanging out here. We've been having fun. Got a lot to talk about and a very short period of time to do it. We have the very interesting story of a woman that was kicked off of not even allowed on a Spirit airline flight. We'll get into that. I will get into a little bit of making fun of Angel Reese, which I love to do. We're also going to get into, gosh, what else? Just so much going on, and we're just going to kind of rapid fire through it because, like I said, been waiting to do this for about 2 hours. Been ready to do this for about 2 hours, and the hour is growing late. It is currently 3:20 a.m. on Wednesday, July the 30th. That means Tuesday night on to Wednesday, I had everything set up. But we're out here chilling and got a lot to talk about. And I have something, I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. I'm addicted. I have an addiction right now. I'm dealing with it. And I haven't been dealing with it in a very healthy way. I've just kind of been feeding the addiction daily. And I want to get into that with you guys in a little bit. But first, let's not get dark right off the bat. Make sure you guys are having a little sippy sip. Grab your beer, grab your wine, grab your Yellowtail Chardonnay, grab your True Leaves, grab your White Claws. And like I said, if you don't like to drink, just grab a melatonin a little bit early tonight. Maybe make yourself a nice glass of Earl Grey tea. And we're going to do this together. We're in this together, and we're going to have fun. But before we get into any of that, I had a first date. All right, so let's cheers to that. Let's cheers to a first date, ladies and gentlemen, that actually went well. Drink them up. Yeah, I'll double drink. I had a, as many of you know, that I've been single for a very long time, and I know you're not here to hear about the. Excuse me. I know you're not here to hear about the deplorable tragedies in my dating life over the last few years since my divorce. I am on Hinge, as I've mentioned several times, and it's not the greatest thing in the world. I mean, let's be real. If you guys are out there in the dating world and you're on Hinge, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the weird thing about Hinge is you don't meet people naturally or organically. You don't get to just kind of see them first and just kind of go, hey, that girl looks kind of cute across the room. Maybe I'll talk to her. You kind of start off backwards. You start texting. You see some photos. You're not really sure what you're seeing. You can't judge a book by its cover. You never know if it's going to be something worthwhile at all. But, if you're on these types of apps, you just have to kind of play the odds, You have to go out there. You have to, if you're having a good time conversating, you have to kind of go out there and just kind of take risks and meet them in person. And it might just be a one-off, but you have to at least get out there, because otherwise, how would you know? And it's so uncomfortable. It's so you never know, because and then the whole time leading up to the date, you're like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I don't really dig this person, on first sight or in person? You could be texting for 5 days straight, which happens a lot. They could ghost you. You could ghost them. But then if you don't ghost and you show up for that date, now you're kind of like 5 days invested in texting. And you're just kind of like, you feel bad if you have to tell them like, yeah, it's kind of really not my thing. I'm so sorry. And it just gives me a whole lot of fucking anxiety. All right. But this date I went on this past Sunday, and didn't really know how it was going to go. Like I just said, we were texting for 5 days, probably leading up to it. And I try to nip it in the bud right away. I try to go, okay, if we're gonna meet, we're gonna meet now, because we're not gonna just sit around here and be pen pals. And decided, I was like, all right, where do I take her? I want to keep it casual. I don't want to keep it like too low. I don't want to go like straight into the dive bar scene. Subject her to the smoky dive bar right away. And I decided, I was like, okay, I will meet you at $5. $5 Drinkery. They're in Pinellas Park, not the downtown one, not the Seminole one, but $5 Drinkery there in Pinellas Park. And we can have some beers there. We can hang out for a little while. It should be a good time. And we decided to do just that. Now, I don't drink and drive. I've had a DUI before in my life. That's another $15,000 that I just can't afford to spend right now. So why not just spend $9 on an Uber? Ubered up there. She was already there before I got there. She said, I'm wearing gray. I said, I'll be wearing baby blue, and I'll have a little rose attached to my lapel. Just kidding. I didn't actually have a rose attached to my lapel. But it was nice. And like I said, this was Sunday. I think I spent about a good 9 hours off and on texting her on my Thursday off. So we already knew the vibes were kind of there. And that does help a lot when you're meeting kind of like quote unquote a blind date, you don't really know what this person looks like outside of a few photos, very few photos that they have. And to be honest, shout out, your photos are grainy as shit. So it's kind of hard to really figure out what you might look like. But you give everybody a chance, and it's all good practice. Whether it's a good date, a bad date, it's all good practice. So you want to go out there and you want to kind of just, get the experience regardless of how it might end up. And that was kind of my line of thinking going into it. Knowing full well that, we already kind of had a lot in common and we had some very good texting going on, but you never know, dude. She could show up and look like Sloth from the Goonies. You never really know. So she's waiting at the bar. I show up about 5 minutes, I would think, maybe 10 minutes after she did. My Uber driver, by the way, was very lovely. An older Hispanic lady. And the second, you get an Uber sometimes and the Uber lady or man, they don't talk at all, which I prefer. I prefer that. I think most of us do. They just kind of have like soft jazz or yaz, as they call it, playing, and they barely talk at all. The second I got into this Uber, this little lady was just like, "Oh, that's a nice house. Blah blah blah. My son and my daughter, they live with me right now. My son and my stepdaughter, or what do you call it? Daughter-in-law, they live with me right now. I can't wait to get them out of the house. I want them to get their own house. Blah blah blah. How much did you pay for that house?" And she's asking all these invasive questions, and I'm just like, lady, we have basically a 5-10 minute drive. And the whole time she's like, "I think there's this bar right around where I'm dropping you off. It sounds like a nice bar." She was talking about the bar she was about to drop me off the whole time. And she goes, "Also, I went into this fried chicken place." And I'm like, "Oh, I love fried chicken. Where was the place?" And she goes, "Oh, it was up on US 19 across from the Walmart." And I go, "Okay." I'm thinking, "Was it like chicken wings? Because that's not the same thing as fried chicken." She's like, "Yeah, no, chicken wings. I saw a little boy in there, and he was like way young, and the women around there, they were just dressed so." And I'm like, "So that's Wing House. You're talking about the Wing House, Kerr's Wing House on 49th, or not 49th, US 19, just past 62nd, right across them." She's like, "Yeah, no, it's just too much for a little boy, too much. And the girls there, they dress like they have it all." This is her words. "They dress like they have it all. They look cheap." I'd only had like one beer and a Red Bull, one beer to kind of get the nerves out before a date. You got to have a quick beer before the date. But I was immediately laughing. I was just like, my old abuela is out here talking about how the girls at Wing House think they look good and they just look cheap. And she was a delight. So I show up at the date. I walk in. I see her wearing gray. I can tell, kind of pretty much based on the photos who she is, which is kind of weird. You just kind of have to walk in and just like awkwardly like kind of scan the area, and you already feel like a creep. And you walk in, you sit up, and I sat down next to her. She opened her mouth, and I'll tell you, you don't talk to a girl, really on Hinge if you're just like, exchanging text messages and stuff. She had the cutest little voice. She was very cute, very quirky, a little bit of a theater nerd, if I could say that, which is right up my alley because, we do all this stuff, and we like to shoot video and do stuff like that and do a little bit of acting. And it was just really nice. It was a nice date. I'm going to say that right off the bat. We sat in that bar for 4 hours. We even did the shift change thing where the bartender comes over and she's like, "I'm doing shift change. You guys want me to roll your tab over?" And me being in hospitality, I will never allow that to happen. I will pay you for your services and tip you appropriately. And then we can start a new tab with the new bartender. And we did all that, and started to get to like, the 2-3 hour mark. And me being the gentleman that I am, I said, "Okay, I'm going to go out and have a cigarette. Pick us some sort of appetizer we can have, but just nothing with lettuce and tomatoes." And she goes, "I don't like onions." And I thought, that's fine. I don't need onions on any of that. So I assumed she was just going to order, chicken wings. Can't go wrong with some chicken wings, right? But we were talking about like poverty nachos and like eating cereal and stuff. Like we were talking about stuff like you do when you're broke. And so I actually assumed she was going to order some nachos for us. And when I get back in, I'm like, "So what'd you order?" And she goes, "Nachos." And I go, "Sick." Pretty much figured that out. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess she didn't read the description well enough. I don't know how that got past her. I mean, even the photo of the nachos on the menu, because it's one of those places where they do have some photos of the items on the menu. Not all, but some. The nachos on the photo were covered with shredded lettuce and tomatoes. Okay. Light them up. Smoke them if you got them. So I'm like, cool, awesome. And then all of a sudden the nachos get delivered. And these things are covered in shredded lettuce everywhere. Like, I mean, they must have had a whole head of lettuce that they just decided like they were being generous with the lettuce. And the tomatoes, which tomatoes I could get past. But I mean, there is shredded lettuce all over. And she was so embarrassed, God bless her. She was like, oh my fucking God, I am so sorry. And I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm just not going to eat any of it. And she's like, you're not going to eat any of it? I go, no, I really only ordered an appetizer for you, just so you know you could eat, because I'm a better drinker than anybody else I know, and I understand that you might need to have some sort of food if we continue. So this is really all for you. And she's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she starts like scraping off all the lettuce and tomatoes onto like one side, but there's no way. There's sour cream all over the chips. That lettuce is gonna stick. And I can tell she's like, oh my God, I fucked up. And you didn't fuck up out there. It was really cute. And she scraped all the shit off. And I was just kind of like picking off like pieces of jalapenos and kind of eating dry chips where I could find them. But let's be real, I didn't really eat much of it at all. And we had a good time. We sat there for 4 hours. You know, I drank my Stellas. I had a shot or two of Jack. She drank her True Leaves or whatever, Neutrals, whatever, into the seltzer game. And we sat there for about 4 hours, and we talked about all sorts of stuff. And it was nice to actually like, hear her voice in person and talk to her and get to see her in person. And then came the point where it's about 4 hours in, and you kind of go at that point. You're like, okay. I said, all right, we've been here for 4 hours. Let's get the hell out of here. Either we split off for the night and say adieu, or we go on to another bar or do something else. You let me know. I'm going to go out and smoke a cigarette. You let me know what you're feeling when I come back. And she was still down, and we decided to go back to my place. Nothing freaky. We were talking about the new South Park episode with Donald Trump that neither of us had seen. And I said, okay, you know, you've seen my bar. You've seen Remy's bar here. Let's go hang out and check that out. And we'll watch the South Park episode. Flash forward 4 hours later, we were just watching all sorts of stuff, listening to 90s grunge. Actually, it was funny because we got into a story about how she's like, yeah, you know, she likes, 90s rock and grunge, and I like it too. We got into a funny story about how she had received a guitar pick from Everclear, Art Alexakis, I believe is his name. And I actually was given a pick by Art Alexakis that was signed when I was in like the 7th grade. And then just as we had got done with that story, iHeartRadio, Smells Like the 90s, started playing Everclear's Father of Mine, which, I mean, if that's kind of not a sign that things are going well, I don't know what is. But yeah, we had a really nice time, hung out for 4 hours, said goodnight to her, and I'll tell you right now, I will definitely have a second date. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, if you're out there listening, I'll get to you when I get to you. I know, I do all this dumb shit in my garage, and my parents have still not seen me in 2 weeks. They're about to put my face on a milk carton. But yeah, so that was my first date. I had a good first date, and there will be a second one. So who knows? Maybe Remy's still got a little bit of gas in the tank, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so let's get into more pressing matters here of the week. Angel Reese, okay. You guys probably saw the WNBA All-Star Game. I know I didn't. And yeah, you guys probably didn't because nobody really gives a shit about the WNBA. But during the WNBA, which Caitlin Clark, the star of the WNBA, did not show up for, a lot of them decided to go out and wear these T-shirts that says, "Pay us what you owe us," which should have backfired because at that point, they probably should have had to pay money to be there. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Angel Reese did an interview after the fact and after those T-shirts. And some reporters were kind of grilling her. And I have a little photo I'll throw up right now. But, yeah, she said, now, I don't know if she knew what she was saying in the moment. But she said, "I get paid $1,400 in 7 days. That's what y'all make in a week." Now, just rewind that. I get paid $1,400 in 7 days. That's what y'all make in a week. Last time I checked, a week was 7 days. So, love making fun of Angel Reese outside of this podcast. Don't know much about her except for her me bounds and padding stats and all that stuff and just bricking off backboards. I watched a whole clip of her with a trainer, him just throwing up rebounds and her just bricking every single one of them. Just soft layups that I could have made, and I'm not even a basketball player. And yeah, she sucks at basketball, but she sucks at math too, and days of the week apparently. So Angel Reese, you are again today canceled, and yeah, we're gonna do that all day long. Yeah. But moving right along, like I said, so much shit I got to get into, and the time is already ticking. I'm no longer going to hide my addiction. I know my mom is probably out there right now watching, and she's probably thinking, "Thank God." Maybe he wants to admit he wants to get into rehab. Maybe it's finally time that we nip this in the bud, and maybe get him some help, the help that he needs. I have an addiction, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm tired of hiding it. And I know most of my closest friends are no strangers to it. I have an addiction. And that addiction is that I have watched the same movie about 100 times in the past month on Amazon Prime. Wait, were you expecting something a little juicier? Well, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, obviously, and I love my fucking cigarettes, but no, this is an addiction that I think is worthy of mentioning on the podcast. I'm addicted to this movie that is on Amazon Prime, like I said. It is called Onyx, the Fortuitous, and the Talisman of Souls. I have watched this movie about 100 times. I have passed out, halfway through or a quarter of the way through several times, but I just keep putting it on. I keep looping it. I watched it several times all the way through, even sober. It's not a movie that you need to be drunk for. It's not a movie that you need to be high for. I've watched it sober as a jaybird before work. It's just one of those movies where I have really enjoyed it. And it's a dumb movie. It's a very dumb movie. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because I want you guys to see it out there in listener land. It's a very awesome movie. And you guys will probably recognize its biggest star, the main actor from the movie, the main player. If you guys remember a viral video that probably happened about, probably within the last 15 to 15 years, when a car fortuitously crashed into an Arby's restaurant, and they had this kind of a fake video. It's a fake video, but where this kid pretends he's an Arby's worker. And we all loved it, and it was great. And if you haven't seen it, if you were sleeping under a rock, then I'm going to play you just a clip of that video. And then this kid is basically an aspiring actor back then, and finally gets this this big screen movie, if I can say that, on Amazon Prime. And I fucking love it. I just love it. He's hilarious. His mannerisms are quirky. Everything is weird about it, and I hope you guys, if you're looking for something fun and different and a little off the beaten path to watch, which is also kind of like a / horror movie / comedy, here it is. But I'll reference back to the original clip of the Arby's crash. Here it is.
Julie Bonovich joins us live, and Julie, what happened out there?
Well, Dave and Glenda, they just finished boarding up the window pane and part of the wall here. This is a very busy Arby's. It sits right here in Woodward in Royal Oak near 13 Mile Road. So as you can imagine, there were quite a few people inside at the time.
The big window went pop.
and there was just glass everywhere. That was the loudest bang I had ever heard. It sounded like an explosion.
I thought perhaps the end of days was upon us, but it turned out it was just a disoriented old lady in a champagne-colored Toyota Avalon, crashing into my world like DMB circa 1996. Who's got their claws in you, my friend? Into your heart I'll beat again.
Just before 2 p.m., an
Genius.
elderly woman drove into the side of the restaurant while trying to park her car.
I turned around. A little old lady had stepped on the gas instead of the brake and ran into the restaurant.
She hit 3 people who were sitting down and eating inside. They were thrown 8 to 10 feet.
I saw their bodies tossed skyward, like ragdolls thrown into the air by the late great Andre the Giant. I don't know. They appeared to be weightless, hitting zero-G like the fearless crew of a forgotten Apollo mission, whose only objective was to obtain a beef and cheddar classic and return home to Kathleen Quinlan safe before sundown. I don't know. Part of me wishes I'd been hit by that car instead, so I could have gotten out of work early and gone far, far away from shift manager Masha's judging emerald eyes. No, I didn't wash my shirt in between shifts, Masha. So what if I smell like roast beef? This whole place smells like roast beef.
The fire department transported all 3 to the hospital and tell us that the man and 2 women who are in their 30s and
Here comes
40s
the magic
appear
right
to have
here.
non-life-threatening injuries.
Re-referencing
woman
the
driving
Dave
car-
Matthews
A work
Band.
of elderly bloodlust spread across her wrinkled face, and it made me dare to think perhaps this was no accident. Perchance she was compelled to steer her beige battering ram into the house that Beef built, driven not by force of this earth, but of an earth below. An earth that mirrors ours in almost every way, except the reflections are so much darker that many miles down. Some know the reflected realm to be the netherworld. Others know it as the abyss. I know it as the shadow zone. A world where the blackness of our sin stares back at us and merely laughs. Ha 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 ha. A world where God's law governs no man. A world where there is no literal or figurative Mr. Belvedere given any authority to teach us right from wrong. A world where we are loosed and given leathery wings charred like brisket to soar high above the judgment of the well-pressed, dry-clean, shift-managing elite. A world where I am elevated to my true pagan animal form and I take flight, known only as the winged demon, dead Dreadmore. And I fly high above the puritanical regime, anointed by the oil of our beast lord, singing, I'm the king of the castle, and you're the dirty rascal. Crash into me, crash into me.
Yeah, so that was the YouTube video. I'm sure you guys remember that from way back in the day. Well, the dude obviously, tried to set up some sort of an acting career for himself. He did a very low-budget movie earlier on, and then finally got his day in the sun. And that movie is, like I said, Onyx, The Fortuitous, and The Talisman of Souls. And here's the trailer real quick. I'm just going to play you guys a little bit of that because I'm just super in love with it.
Marcus Trilberry can't catch a break.
Order up, number 46.
At his work, he gets no respect.
What, Marcus? I was just wondering if you got my new name tag in yet? Because this says Marquay Dickberry.
At his home, he gets no love.
I could understand if your father was still in the house, but this is Todd, your stepfather, and my lover.
And with his friends, he doesn't have any. But all he needs is a chance.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
I've been invited to Bartok's mansion to take part in a once-in-a-lifetime ritual in which he, along with 5 of his most loyal followers, will attempt to raise the spirit of the ancient demon, Abaddon.
You're not going anywhere until you scoop that litter box.
Now he's off on an adventure.
Is the ritual going to work? Shall we relate to the talisman?
All 5 are present. The queen, the Viking, a werewolf, the witch, and you are the virgin.
What the
When it's the end of the world, a new hero must rise.
Patty Slinger?
When in doubt, skewer it out.
In the grimoire, after the ritual of Abaddon, there was a warning. Beware the prophecy of fortuitous one.
What?
What?
Marcus Trilberry and the
I'd really love it if you called me Onyx, the Fortuitous.
Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
Oh, hey, what are y'all doing in here?
So yeah, that's the trailer for Onyx, the Fortuitous, and the Talisman of Souls. Like I said, that is available on Amazon Prime. You can go check it out right now. It's a good watch. I mean, like I said, I've seen it 100 times over the past month, and I'm addicted. I really am. I love it. I just put it on when I want to fall asleep. I put it on in the afternoons before I go to work. I put it on all the time, and I'm addicted, and I'm sorry, Mom, if you thought I was going to admit something bigger here today. But yeah, that's my new jam. I love that fucking movie, and you guys will too. I really hope you do. And yeah, so check it out. And I don't want to lean too heavily, on this episode on, other clips and different media and whatnot. But every once in a while, that's what's going on. It's just a bunch of stuff that's going on in the news, aside from my very mediocre dating life. And I want to share that stuff with you guys. I want to, enrich your lives if I can. Outside of this podcast, which I'm sure is very enriching to your lives. Wink, wink, quote, quote, say no more. But yeah, I mean, just a great movie. And grab a loved one, grab some popcorn, grab a True Leave, grab an Earl Grey, grab a melatonin, do what you do. Watch the movie. It was very, very fun and enjoyable. And just a bunch of kids that get invited to you remember that movie House on Haunted Hill where they all kind of get invited to a dinner and they're not really sure what the hell's going on. Kind of the same vibe. These 5 people get chosen and they're all kind of satanic worshipers. And, I'm not into Satanism or anything like that, but it's a comedy movie. It's a horror movie and a comedy movie. And it hits a lot of really good points. And it's funny. And it's a fun watch. So make sure you go out there and watch it. Wow. Should have started this 2 hours ago, but like I said, the storms were a brewing, and I'm not going to stop just because of the storms. The cameras were all set up, the microphone was set up, and I'm going to roll. So that's where we are. And like I promised, before we roll out of here, and we are going to roll out of here very soon, we have that one story. Yep. Take a sip with me for this one. I know the podcast is one thing, but if you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, you're just missing out because there's all sorts of visuals going on. But can't get out of here without mentioning the clip of the week, I guess. The clip of the week. Tanasia Grayer. You guys heard the name, I'm sure. Spirit Airlines, you heard the name, I'm sure. But this young lady, she was denied entry onto a Spirit airline flight. Which, if you're, I don't know what you have to do wrong, if anything. If there's much you can do wrong to get denied entry onto a flight on Spirit Airlines. But this woman did just that with the outfit she decided to wear. And, like I said, don't like to lean a whole lot on external media, but they say it best right here. And I will tell you right now, I have watched the video. You guys might have heard about this if you're not living under a rock. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see you looking like this, dressed like this. No, it should be a crime against humanity to subject other people, especially on a metal tube soaring 20,000 feet in the air, that we have to sit here and God only knows what the smells were like wafting out of these shorts. But she just felt it was okay. And here's the news report. This is Tanasia Grayer and the Spirit Airline debacle. Here we go.
And out the top at 10, a woman says that she was not allowed to board a Spirit Airlines flight in Miami because of what she was wearing. Tonight, she is talking only to CBS News Miami. Good evening, I'm Jim Barry. Back in January, the airline announced it was cracking down on passengers who it considers inappropriately dressed. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us live tonight from Miami International Airport. So, Anna, how did this lady
describe
exactly what she went through today?
Disgustingly dressed, not inappropriate.
Well, Jim, this passenger, she reached out to us and she said that not only was she not allowed to board her Spirit flight, but she says her sister was arrested.
Let's hear it.
Your boarding pass, please.
As Tanasia Greyer approached the Spirit ticket counter, tensions quickly grew. She was just told she wouldn't be allowed on her flight back to Chicago.
I'm right here. You need to get out my face. You don't have to address me like that. You can say whatever you need to say from right there. You don't have to get in my face.
You don't get to tell me what to do.
And you don't get to tell me what to do.
Greyer says it all started over this outfit she wore to the airport. She says she wore similar shorts while traveling on a plane to Miami on Sunday.
Imagine that girl sitting right next to you on a plane. Especially Spirit, where you're just packed in like sardines.
With my robe, this is exactly how I had my clothes.
She says her luggage made it onto the flight, but she didn't.
I have my robe on.
Honestly, her luggage probably weighed less.
The plane, and the lady at the front desk, she stopped me and said, "You're not getting on a plane like that." So I looked at her and I said, "Like what?" She said, "With those shorts." I said, "Everybody here has on shorts. What's the problem with my shorts?" And I've been in this airport for 40 minutes with my shorts and my robe on, and nobody addressed me about my
and her robe. She's wearing a robe to the airport. That's fine.
That voice in the background is Greyer's sister, Jessica Kordelewski. So first, Tanasia says she can't get on her Spirit flight because of her outfit, and then, to make matters worse, she says her sister is arrested for disorderly conduct.
They treated me like a real criminal.
Back in the 1950s and 60s, air travel was a more luxurious and glamorous experience. Passengers dressed in their finest attire. But today, most people in the airport sport more comfortable clothing.
Yeah, that was a thing too. I mean, I didn't grow up in that era. I mean, I was born in 1985, so you know, our parents did everything they could just to get us on the plane and get us to shut the fuck up. You know, they put us in little khaki shorts, probably, little flip flops, and just kind of shoved a Game Boy in our face. They were worried about us crying and doing anything. You know, my parents, they were frequently flying back and forth to Ohio when we were very little. So I did experience flights from a very early age. And I want to think I was pretty well behaved on those flights as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old. But I was comfortable enough. You know, as long as the lady would walk by and give us peanuts, usually honey roasted back then. They don't do that anymore. They give you weird foreign treats, which is how I discovered stroopwafel. So I won't complain on that. But it goes back to the entitlement. I mean, it goes back to just thinking you can do whatever the hell you want to do, you know? I mean, I wasn't dressed up in a little suit and tie, but I feel like right now, if I do have to fly, and if I'm not expensive, I don't fly Delta, I don't fly American Airlines, you know? I fly Spirit. I've flown Spirit before. I fly Allegiant a lot of times. I'm not dressing up in a suit and tie, but I will tell you right now, I would probably fly more if there was a requirement that you had to wear church clothes, you know? And I don't go to church, but if you had to wear business casual to church clothes, I would probably fly a little bit more, knowing that you're not going to have, Carly sitting there in her jeggings that she hasn't washed in 4 days. And she's got her neck pillow and she's doing whatever, and she doesn't really care. She hasn't showered in 2 days. And she's just like, yeah, it's a lazy day. It's a travel day. I don't really need to church it up for that. When back in the day, I mean, literally it was a privilege to get on this tube and fly 20,000, 30,000 feet in the air. And it was the modern miracle. It was the age of flight, and people respected it, and they were that's what they used to do. They would literally dress up like the president might show up on that airplane at any moment. And I'm not saying we have to do that, but I'm saying just some level of decorum. Let's just not show up in a bathrobe and the equivalent of male boxer briefs and a crop top with saggy titties hanging out and a shower cap. I mean, just call me crazy. I just don't think that's it's not a matter of you being comfortable. You're not now if you're in the car and you're traveling from, let's say the Tampa Bay area all the way up to Virginia, and it's going to be a nice 9-10 hour drive, and you might even have to break halfway through it. Yeah, you're going to wear whatever the hell you want to wear because it's just you and maybe just you and your girl or your guy, and you guys are just trying to be comfortable. You're going to stop at rest stops. You're going to sweat your ass off. You might even stop into a Waffle House or a Fred's roadside barbecue joint, on the way, but that's about the most people are going to see it, and they'll never see it again. That might be a little bit different, but those people don't have to sit next to you for 4 or 5 hours. So, that's from Miami to Chicago. I mean, that's got to be about a 3-4 hour flight. Just, Tanasia, act accordingly. And I hope you're not out there trying to sue Spirit, because if you are, I hope you fail, and I hope this is a lesson to everybody else. But that'll about wrap it up here for They Call Us the Breeze Summer Break Part 7. Storms are well past us. I'm going to go make some frozen burritos, live my poverty life. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves as much as I have tonight. And of course, make sure you guys are going out to Tiger Cage Media. That is our YouTube channel. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, every video you're watching, ringing that little bell for notifications. That way you know whenever we do have a new video coming out. And if you don't watch podcasts, just check us out every Monday wherever you get your podcast drip. And like I say, for every one of you out there that's listening, there's 1,000 that aren't. So tell your friends. And I love you very much. I will be back here next week with a little bit more fun. And yeah, that's about it. Keep your eyes on Brewski. Instagram, Brewski Pupatowski. I love you guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. Good night, everybody. We love you. Bye.